Hello and welcome to Body and Mind Uncensored. We're your hosts, Kelly
and Celise. Combining 26 years of nursing experience, we're dedicated to sharing our expertise in mental health and women's health with as many people as possible.
Hello and welcome back. It's great
Hi,
to have
Kelly.
you joining us today for another episode. Today we would like to delve into more of what mental health means, what a diagnosis of mental health needs, and what does that mean if I have a mental health diagnosis, as well as what our needs are as humans. What is it that we need the most to be full working adults?
What do you need? Let's start out on a light note. What do you need? What does your day, you're like, I need this, this, and this for it to be a good day?
Yeah. So for it to be a good day, I would say I need to have plenty of rest. I need to have a goal.
A goal?
Yeah. I feel like I need to have something that I have to do that day. Otherwise, it's so
I like
easy to
that.
just sit and do nothing.
And sometimes that's okay, right?
And
Please tell
sometimes
me
that's
it's
okay. Yeah. But if I want to be a productive person, those are
A goal. I like that.
goal. Yeah. How about you? What do you need to?
I was going to start off with saying sleep. I mean, if you wake up and you have had a bad night's rest, it's
torture.
It makes everything hard. So yeah, I'd like to wake up fully refreshed. I like that. I've never put it into words as far as a goal, but I do like to have a purpose, like today I'm going to clean my house or I'm going to plant my flowers. So that kind of thing, right? Like we got to have something to feel like I've achieved something. It gets me out of the house. We were talking about bed rest last time and pregnancy and postpartum. And one of those things that I found after I had my babies was to get to a routine. And I found that I really am somebody who thrives on knowing that this is how my day's going to go. If I just leave it up to whatever as the wind changes, that's not something as a person. Yeah. And it's not wrong and it's not for somebody else. That's perfectly fine. Like my husband, he loves to just not have an agenda. He's like, let's just see what the day does. No.
Yeah, my husband is definitely an agenda person. I'm kind of like let's see what the day does, but also I do feel like I need some kind of something to do. Otherwise, I will just sit and read or whatever. So
okay, back to your perfect day. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I don't even know my perfect day.
You're right. Not a perfect day. What you need in a day for it to be a good day. We've said sleep.
Sleep definitely is the top. Gosh, I don't know. I haven't even thought about a perfect.
I like to be excited about food sometimes. Like if it's going to be a really boring day, even if it's just like I'm going to go run to the gas station and get a drink or a treat. Those little things like that make me happy.
Yeah, I do try to pre-plan my food. Yeah. Like I'll wake up in the morning and sometimes I'll think, what am I going to have for dinner? I haven't even had breakfast yet. Why am I thinking, what am I going to have for dinner tonight?
Because that is such a hard question every day.
It is a hard question.
As humans, we do have physical needs, right? Like we have our basic needs that we need to have to be able to achieve our best selves. And we learned about this in nursing school. And it was Maslow's hierarchy.
Hierarchy of needs. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The levels of Maslow, if I remember correctly, back to nursing school, you have your basic level, your psychological needs, which we can kind of get into a little bit of what that means. And then you have safety and security. Then you have love and belonging, self-esteem, and then self-actualization. So what do all those levels mean and how can we get there? And you have to have them all to be fulfilled, is what Maslow says, right?
Yeah. In order to achieve the next level, you have to have that good foundation. So that foundation is physiological, our physical needs, our air. If we don't have air, we die. I mean, most of them are pretty straightforward, but some of our friends do struggle with food, water, sleep, shelter. We all know people in the community that those basic needs aren't being met.
Yeah. Clothing. Just
clothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For the elements, right? Like if it's wintertime, if it's cold, people don't have the correct clothing to stay warm.
Yeah.
And if those aren't being met, how could they ever be expected to keep a job, right? If you don't have clothes to wear to a job, how do you get a job? So we're going to talk a little bit about building on those needs to become our best selves.
Well, and if you don't have those basic needs, you're not going to take care of the rest of yourself and the things that need to happen. So we see a lot of healthcare issues. Like you don't go to the doctor for your regular checkups. You don't talk to anybody about your mental health because you're really just trying to get through the day-to-day breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. Like if you don't have those things, then everything else doesn't matter. And trying to get those resources becomes the priority. And you put other parts of yourself on the back burner.
Right.
So the second level, safety and security, this is related to your just general overall health, your employment, your property, your family, and your social ability.
No, Kelly, like looking at that, it says personal safety. Like that could be so many things. That could be your living condition. Like if you don't feel safe at home, that's not being met, then you're not going to reach that next level. So personal safety can not only mean like a roof over your head, but feeling safe at work, feeling safe at home, in a relationship with yourself, right? Like I'm not going to harm myself. So personal safety has a lot of levels on its own.
Yep, absolutely.
And not to mention, go ahead.
Being able to hold down a job. Like if you are constantly jumping from job to job, or you don't have a well-paying job or a job that will help you to support yourself, that can be another barrier.
Exactly. And interesting enough, health is on this safety.
Yeah.
On this safety bar.
Yeah. It is interesting. It is one of those basic needs is making sure that you are healthy. But it is interesting.
The one above it.
Yeah. The rest of it kind of goes hand in hand. So the one above that level is love and belonging, which includes friendship, family, intimacy, and sense of connection. So as we're building these levels, it does kind of make sense. They kind of build on each other. So at the bottom level, again, if you're focused on trying to find somewhere to sleep, you're not worried about your employment, your physical health, other people, you're worried about yourself. So as you get to that third level and you start to feel comfortable with others and you're able to connect more with others.
All your needs are met. And so now you can start being a friend to somebody else. You can start being a help to other people because that's where that friendship line comes in, right? Like all my needs are met. I mean, obviously there's going to be needs that aren't met, but your basic needs, I'm safe, I'm taken care of, I'm not hungry. All those things need to be met before we can become members of society and good friends, because we can't think about other people when our needs aren't taken care of.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
No, definitely not. And I know in times when I'm feeling kind of in a funk myself, the last thing I want to do is talk to other people. And so
But you should.
But you should. But yeah, I can see where this kind of fits into that same timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. So above love and belonging, we have esteem, self-esteem. And that little baby right there, that can come and go and come and go many times within a day.
Yes.
Can it?
Yep, absolutely.
Confidence, respect, and achievement. Now we're getting into actually having a purpose in a day and working on something and being outside of ourselves.
Your own unique person and being able to show that you are a unique person. That's part
individual.
If you're not feeling confident in the other parts of your life or the other areas, you definitely don't show your uniqueness. The last level is self-actualization. So morality, creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, experience, purpose, meaning, and inner potential. That's a lot to unwrap in one level. So,
well, let's think of it as rescuing Princess Peach in Mario, right?
Okay. Yeah, let's go there.
It takes a while. It takes trying. It takes starting over. It's just continual progress. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've made it to the 11th level. And then all of a sudden you get eaten by a Venus flytrap, right? Isn't that in Mario?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have to start your journey all over again. And this happens
Or you
to
have
people all the
fireballs
time.
coming at you. Or
Fireballs.
Bowser
Absolutely.
jumping on you and pouncing on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And all you want to do is just rescue Princess Peach.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of it as, is like that ultimate top part of the triangle, just constantly trying to achieve it.
Yeah.
Right?
The top of Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder how many people feel like they have all of these levels, all 5 levels.
Well, good question. Where do you think you are?
I mean, I think it depends on the day, but I think I have most of them, or parts of most of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I would like to
Definite-
add that depending on the day, you're right. You could look at that and say, nope, I got to come down a few levels of this triangle. And one of those is just the second level with health. If
Yeah.
you've ever been, like, mental health needs to be on there, right? Because it's personal safety. And maybe that's just all encompassing.
Yeah.
But if you've been sick, you can just erase those
Oh,
top
yeah. Yep.
triangles. You don't need to go out with friends. Like, you really do bring it down to, I'm just going to heal my body. I'm going to heal my mind.
Yep.
I'm going to focus on that. I don't need to be
Absolutely.
worrying about friendships. I don't need to be worrying about my self-esteem.
Yeah.
I just need to focus on being okay in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're talking about mental health again. It's Women's Mental Health Month. I don't know about you, but I have had experiences with depression and anxiety in the past, maybe a little bit of PTSD. And it's hard when you come to the realization that, okay, I might need help, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, am I the only one that fears or has feared in the past getting that diagnosis of, hey, there's something here, you need to get on medication for that? What does that mean? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I have a history of it with my kids, and my first husband and my children's father come from a long line of some depression, some anxiety. And it's like this label that we feel like, it's this label that everybody can see, and everybody's judging us because we have that. And I think really it's pretty rare these days to not have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And maybe
remember
one day to the next, they disappear. But I think we all struggle with something.
Yeah, I do too. And I think, I don't know, to me, it seems like if you don't struggle with something, I want to know what world or what bubble you're in.
It's the bubble of denial.
I mean, looking at celebrities, even the most happy, or who you think are the most happy celebrities, and see the lengths that they've gone to.
We've lost a lot of them to
We've
suicide.
lost so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
comedy is a way to hide the sadness. And
yeah,
a lot of times people who are so jovial and joking, and we all come up with our own ways to mask the sadness that we have going on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, I
nobody's
think
immune.
there's a few that off the top of my head, I think about Robin Williams all the time, like
Mm-hmm.
all of his movies. And I just think he was he had everything, right? He had it all. And
Or what we think is all, right? When we think, if we had that, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
But it's not about our possessions.
And Twitch. Do you know who
Yeah.
Twitch is? Yeah,
I do know who Twitch is.
That one was, oh my gosh. I remember watching him on So You Think You Can Dance and coming in. And that one hit really hard too when I heard
Didn't he work with Ellen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, I mean, anybody who knows Ellen and knows her TV show and her set, you'd think that was just a place of laughing all day. And it might have been, but we don't know what everybody's struggling with behind closed doors.
Well, and your brain can kind of take on its own life sometimes, and
for sure,
you don't realize it, you know? So does it make you weak?
No.
Thinking, oh my gosh, I have this mental health diagnosis. I just went to the doctor and he told me I had depression and now I have to take pills for that. Am I a weak person now? Does that make me weak? And I hope that we're getting to the point where people say no. But I know for myself, when I was first diagnosed with depression, I was like, oh my gosh, what does that
Mhm.
mean? Like, how do I
It
get
used to
over
be
this? How do I get through this?
Yeah, it used to be just like, "Oh, don't tell anybody. Gonna take my Prozac. I'm not gonna let anybody know that I suffer from depression or anxiety." But that's where the stigma comes in, right? And
Yeah.
we hold it in and we decide, "I can do this on my own. Nobody needs to know. Everybody needs to think I'm perfect. We've got to have our lives put together and looking in a certain way online on social media." And no,
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
nobody's
And
immune
I
from
think
this.
that's the biggest thing these days. I mean, we never had social media before, right? You couldn't ever
Mhm.
see the perfect mom doing all these things for holidays and all the things that these
Mm,
perfect moms
goodness.
do. And you want to be just like them. And oh my gosh, how do they have so much time in their day or the means to do all these perfect things? But I think what we need to realize about social media is it's showing you what they want you to see,
Mhm. Only the
not
good things.
only the good things. We don't show
Yeah.
our bad days on social media. We don't show the horrible hair day or the bad makeup day or the no makeup
The
day.
the missing a front tooth because you got hit in the mouth.
Yeah,
Nobody's
like,
gonna see that, but
yeah,
it's there.
it's there. The things are there. And
Yeah, they are. And we
social
hide
media
them because we're
social media is
embarrassed.
the perfect world that does not exist.
Yeah. It's like a stage for you to put your showcase your best.
Yeah. And it does set really unrealistic expectations for the rest of us.
Mhm.
I don't know. Either I post something or I don't. Like, people aren't going to
Mhm.
post their bad days, right? And I don't know. Social media is one of those hard
It
things
commits
because
good and bad,
yeah,
right? It's
it can
good
yeah.
support,
Yep.
but as long as we're not using it as our this is how we have to be, this is
Yeah.
who I have to keep up with.
Yeah.
Like those gender reveals, I can't tell you how grateful I am that those didn't exist when I was having babies.
Yep.
I think
You just
about this
called and
like the
said,
first
"I'm having a boy" or "I'm having a girl." Yeah, there
yes.
was never yeah.
There's such high expectations for any parties. I feel so bad when I look on Facebook and I see like these birthday parties for these little kids and I got a good example. We were somewhere yesterday where there was a Build-A-Bear and they were having a birthday party and these girls must have been 5. And if anybody's ever been to Build-A-Bear, it's expensive. They're
Very
probably
expensive.
$50 to make an animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all I can think about when I'm seeing that is, what are you going to do when they're 18? Or what are you going to do for their 10th birthday or 12th? Holy cow. Just the
Yeah.
expectations on social media right now for how we should have celebrations and
Yeah.
holidays and Elf on the Shelf. Wow.
Yeah. The Elf on the Shelf, that one's a hard one. How many
Mm-hmm.
times did I have to tell my kids the elf didn't move because
My kids were too old for Elf on the Shelf, and I am so grateful. I don't know
um
that I would have done it. I'm sure I would
yeah.
have. I fell into
Sometimes I
those.
wish I wouldn't. The kids loved it. They they
Mm-hmm. I'm
they
sure
still
they
do.
do.
Do. They look
Do
forward to
they?
the elf coming out. Yeah. But
So,
it's a lot less
but
pressure now.
But yes, because they know about Elf on the Shelf, but to think
Yes.
of all the things that you have to, I guess, hide your kids' ears if they're listening,
Yes.
please fast forward. But to come up with all those ideas for the elf, that's just added stress on an already stressful life.
Yeah.
And I feel like society is coming up with more and more stressful situations to go over the top.
Well, and we're causing our own stress because not only do you have
Mm-hmm.
to come up with the idea, but then you have to clean up after your dang elf.
Mm-hmm. Whatever mess the elf made.
That elf makes a mess in the flour all over your counter or wherever your
Let me
the
think of
mess
a
is.
messy situation so that my
Yes.
kids will love it, but I'll have a mess to clean up.
Yes. Yeah. And it is funny because when I was little, my mom was a stay-at-home mom and she would dress me up and do my hair and do decorations for every holiday and
Mhm.
things like that. So I think of my mom as one of those Pinterest moms well before her time.
She would have loved the Pinterest
She would have loved the Pinterest and doing all these things. And I
because she
love
was a stay-at-home mom, right?
she was a stay-at-home mom. And I love
Yeah.
that people have the time and the energy to do that
Mhm.
for their children. And I kind of wish that I was like that. I am not a creative person. And I worked full time and I was going to school full time. And I definitely did not have the time to do those things. I did as much as I could. But I think just seeing people doing those kinds of things, it just puts that added pressure. And it
it does. It causes anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, and not only for ourselves, but I think a lot of what drives it is kids, right?
Mhm.
Like, well, they went to a birthday party for their friend that was so extravagant. They're going to think I don't love them as much if I just have a family birthday and cake and a gift.
Yeah.
And it's always building on to something bigger and greater.
Yeah.
And the amount of pressure that comes from that is so unhealthy. You know?
Yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Unrealistic expectations, for sure.
Yeah. Same thing with like the birthing plans that we were talking about last time. Those expectations of this is how my birth's going to go and my labor. And it's not always how it does, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What else do we have on that top level of self-actualization? Reaching one's full potential. See, that's why I think this is a ever, how do you say it? Evolving.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're constantly evolving,
it's a moving target.
Trying to reach. Yeah, because our full potential, what my full potential was at 30 or even 40 is different now. And so I do need to change that and keep reaching for better.
Yeah. And what is our full potential? Do we even know what your full potential is? I think it's just something
because some
like
days it's different.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of there as kind of your North Star. Like, this is what we're trying to get to. We're trying to be the best person that we possibly can be in the moment. As long as all these other things are falling into line, then I think we are. We are at our full potential at that moment.
And what one's potential is can be completely different for somebody else's.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes. Definitely do not compare yourself to anybody else, because you are your own person and it is your life and you have things that you're great at, just like other people do.
The world needs every one of us and what we have to contribute, even if it's something small.
Yeah. Could you imagine if we were all the same people walking around?
Oh, hell no.
That would be,
that would be awful.
Yeah. I'm glad that there's variety in the world and that people have their own thoughts and ideas on the way that the world should be.
And creative, right? Look at how many creative people there are out there and how many non-creative. I'm not as creative as some. And thank goodness there are, like our beautiful friend who did our logo for our podcast. Amazing talent.
You know what? And we should pause for a minute and shout that out, because I meant to do that in our first podcast and I totally just overlooked it. But yes, our beautiful logo was done by our friend, our coworker, amazing DeShayla. She is the most creative.
She's so talented.
She's
smart.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about not comparing yourself to somebody. She's one you're not going to want to compare yourself to.
Yeah. She
can do everything.
All the things. And I just can't believe how creative she is. So yes, huge shout out to
she drew or sketched Kelly and I in our picture. And she did a really good job. I mean, of course, she added some pretty places where they weren't.
Shut up, you're beautiful.
She did a good job.
No, she did a great job. So thank you for
shout out to DeShayla.
Yes, thank you, DeShayla. Hopefully you're listening to this. So I don't know. I think we unwrapped a whole lot of things in this episode, and hopefully, please, if you have feelings, if you're not getting all of these needs met, then please reach out. There are resources. If you need food, if you need shelter, if you need any of those basic needs, there is an amazing number, 211. Just dial 211, or you can look it up on the internet. There are so many resources out there for you.
Depending on the city that you live in, there's shelters. There are Goodwill, Salvation Army, Deseret Industries here in Utah that have affordable clothing, affordable household items, the Christmas tree house if you need shelter. I do have a positive note that I want to add on, and I think this applies to our Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that very first level, it was, let me just refer back to it, and it was physiological. Our physical needs are air, water, food, sleep, clothing, and shelter. And so this little saying, it just says, I know you're sad, So I won't tell you to have a good day. Instead, I advise you to simply have a day. Stay alive, feed yourself well, wear comfortable clothes, and don't give up on yourself just yet. It'll get better. Until then, just have a day. And I love that because we all want to have a good day, but sometimes that doesn't happen. A lot of times that doesn't happen. And so just have a day and focus on what you can to get through the day.
I love that.
What I'd like to leave you with.
Yeah, I love that. And, we have control over ourselves at the end of the day. Nobody else. We can't change what we can't change. I love that. Well, thank you.
Thanks for staying with us today and talking about our needs.
We look forward to seeing you in our future podcasts.
Bye-bye.
If you or someone you know has thoughts of hurting themselves or others, please text or call 988. They will direct you to someone in your community that can help. You can also call 911 in an emergency.
Remember, you never know what someone else is going through. Sending peace and love to all. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook.